Here, read this.
Woof.
Good evening. It is the 6th of December 2025, and here is your poem for the day. I've brought the run of Merlin poems to an end, or at least for now, putting a pause on it. I fancied doing something else. So I've chosen a poem that is quite appropriately titled. It's called A Sorcerer Bids Farewell to Seem, and it's an early poem by Sylvia Plath. As usual, I'll read through the poem in one go, and then we'll talk a little bit about it at the end. Perhaps not too long tonight. It's been a long Christmas period shift in the bookshop today, so I don't have very much time. But let's do this quick little early Plath poem. So here it is in full. A Sorcerer Bids Farewell to Seem. I'm through with this grand looking-glass hotel where adjectives play croquet with flamingo nouns. Methinks I shall absent me for a while from rhetoric of these rococo queens. Item, chuck out royal rigmarole of props and auction off each rare white rabbit verb. Send my muse Alice packing with gaudy scraps of mushroom simile and gryphon garb. My native sleight-of-hand is wearing out. Mad Hatter's hat yields no new metaphor. The jabberwock will not translate his songs. It's time to vanish like the Cheshire cat, alone to that authentic island where cabbages are cabbages, kings, kings. So this poem was written whilst Plath was at Smith College, so she'll be in her early 20s. It's an early poem, but not so early that it warrants being classed as juvenilia, which is how it appears in the collected poems edited by Ted Hughes. Very much looking forward to seeing where it ends up in the new poems that's being edited by Amanda Golden and Karen V. Kukil. That's coming out next April. And this poem is an expression of Plath's relentless purity testing of herself, her wish to, as she put it, burn away all the peripherals of her poetry in order to arrive at the truth. Not the say what you see, top of your head type of truth, but more a refined, solitaire truth, which many agree she finally achieved with her aerial poems. Obviously, this is a much earlier poem in her development, and it's a poem about development. Earlier, her poems were often formally intricate, densely elusive, and by her own estimation, stiff. She often chides herself in her journals about this, and one of my favourite lines that she has is when she chides herself for acting like Roget's trollop, parading words and tossing off bravado for an audience. Roget, referring to her preferred thesaurus, always loved that line. I'm something of a Roget's trollop myself. So here she is criticising herself for being overworked, slapping herself on the wrist, and bidding farewell in this poem to her excesses of artifice, in the voice of a sorcerer renouncing their powers, a bit like Prospero, but within a scheme of, as I'm sure you noticed, Alice in Wonderland imagery. So we have adjectives playing croquet with flamingo nouns, bringing to mind the adjectives and the nouns that Plath has selected from Roget's thesaurus, selected for impact, not for consonance. So they appear as disparate as the notions of flamingos and croquet as they appear in Lewis Carroll. Mushroom similes, it makes me think of her similes running away from her, growing alarmingly. Gryphon garb, clothes made for a mismatched animal. And then this really interesting bit later on where Plath seems to suggest that the reliance on these tricks is actually diminishing her own natural ability. My native sleight of hand is wearing out. Mad Hatter's hat yields no new metaphor. The jabberwock will not translate his songs. It's almost like her natural talent is wasting away with the over-reliance on trickery and staring too long into the looking glass. The remedy, she says, is to return to that authentic island where cabbages are cabbages, kings, kings, a reference to the Walrus and the Carpenter, a poem contained within Through the Looking Glass, which has the lines, "The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings."